The blond man stood, or rather staggered to his feet, bare stinking of beer and with a bear hug he used to greet the confused Loki.
Oh, I'm so adopted.
Loki pushed him away, but unfortunately Thor's fierce grip forced him to stay.
Ah, hello, small elf. Metal man's stories were true. There's a jolly man who's bidding you do. Have you brought me a feast? Can we make jest? Or another coffee? That glorious liquid is the best.
Thor was utterly drunk, this much Loki knew. Yet he played along. There was nothing left he could do. With a wheedly voice he squeaked,
Santa's elf, I am he! I'm here to save Christmas! Won't you please help me?
Of course, the kind soul. Thor thrust him aside.
That I will, little man. Go on, be my guide.
Santa made a mistake. These presents aren't yours. I must take them back and get more from Mr. Claus.
Thor grinned warmly, eyes glistening with tears. He hugged, Loki once more.
Elf, banish your fears. I'll help you in your task, honorable little sir.
He then helped gather the presents in a rather rushed blur. Much like you would a dog, Loki patted Thor's head, gave him a glass of milk, and sent him off to bed.
Piss off.
Burdened with glorious purpose, he had come on this quest. It was quite the icing on the cake that his own brother he did best.
Idiot.
He had done it. He had won.
Victory is mine. Now I shall sit and watch them for their dear Christmas pie.
Just in time, too, for it was starting to get quite light. The Avengers were about to wake to a terrible fright. And so, one by one, they awoke from their dreams, only to find their Christmas torn apart at the seams. Not a single piece of wrapping paper or tinsel could be found. Loki watched them search, invisible, not making a sound. Furious and confused, the heroes ran to Coulson's to complain, but with his captain's cards stolen, in his room he would remain. So they gathered near his bare tree and began to bicker and yell. They wanted answers, the culprit, who perhaps Stark could smell.
It was Loki that did it. That little shit. Come on, Point Break. We know reindeer games did it. Where's all my things? I hate when people touch my stuff. I want them all back. Otherwise, things here could get rough.
They all nodded and agreed. Yes, it had to be Loki. If anyone was a spoil sport and hated them, it was he. They all agreed to avenge this injustice. They'd get Christmas back. But Thor held up his hands. With a relaxed calm the others did lack.
My friends, my fellows, so what if there's no more wine? Come now, it's Christmas. Yes, gifts were taken by brother of mine. But we have been through so much that this loss is quite small. Just think of Loki. He has no one to spend it with at all.
He brought that on himself.
Widow muttered. Hawkeye nodded and agreed.
It's true,
said Steve.
This is truly an un-American and terrible deed. Yet,
said Thor.
We must forgive Loki all the same.
Loki gasped as Thor went on.
For it is I we should blame.
They all stared, dumbfounded as Thor continued on to say,
If I hadn't been so arrogant in my youth, he wouldn't have turned out this way. I should have been more kind and more caring, been there by his side. Yet left alone and unloved. It was by his own rules he did abide. He stole Christmas because he wanted us to feel his pain.
Thor was right, of course. That was exactly what Loki wanted to gain.
But I forgive him for this. Such trouble I'd known at JB. I just hope that he could put it all aside. Perhaps forgive me.
Loki's small heart beat louder. Was it growing, in fact? Who knew Thor could be that smart? Have such tact? Loki dropped his illusion and moved to face Thor, a man he'd never admit he did quite adore.
Fine, here's your gifts, you ungrateful sods.
With that, he dumped the sack between the two gods. Thor beamed. Was that another tear in his eye? Yet Loki looked away. His feelings he'd always deny. The Avengers rushed forward, grabbed their gifts, patted Loki on the back. Whilst he stood in shock, he had expected them to attack. The room exploded with merriment and cheer. Thor hugged Loki for the third time that year. They all unwrapped their gifts. A new gun for Widow, a flag for the captain, for Hawkeye an Asgardian bow. Thor got a new hammer, Stark a discount card, and Banner's gift, well, it put him on guard. So they ate and they sang and drank a grand toast. Pulled Christmas crackers, though Thor won the most. Amongst it all sat Loki, a bit lost and confused. Yet he enjoyed the company, though rather bemused. For it was strange to be amongst, well, a family once more. And Thor made him feel more welcome than he'd ever before. You see, this is the true Christmas gift. Not a present with a bow, but being surrounded by those who care. often more than you know. Now, I'm afraid this is where our story ends, and perhaps, who knows, they may have all made amends. Maybe Loki, a bitter man with his heart frozen to the core, may have realized Christmas is not just about presents, but means something more.
Wait! That's it? That's the end? No gifts for me? Even after I gave theirs all back so charitably. Trust my rage, you mewling quibs! I'm not done with you yet. Believe me when I say next Christmas is one you will never forget.